next breaking news segment, and this is something that's going to rumble on for a long, long time. Virgil van Dijk, his injury, obviously had knee surgery, is expected to be out for the rest of the season, a crushing, damaging blow to Liverpool, both in their Premier League defence and their Champions League hopes as well. How do Liverpool move forward from this? That's the big question I want to focus on here, because there's a lot of talk about, do they need to buy a new centre-back in January? Can their current defenders or Fabinho really share the load? And then they've only got, Joe Gomez and Joel Matip. Fabinho can play there. And after that, we're looking at an 18-year-old Sepp van der Berg who hasn't played a single second in the Premier League for Liverpool. So I want to kick this off by saying I think Fabinho can be the answer, because I'm not convinced that Gomez and Matip will actually stay fit, both of them, for the whole season. And I spoke to Jurgen Klopp after Fabinho played away at Chelsea as a centre-back, emergency centre-back, if you will. He was raving about him, absolutely loved his performance, smiling from ear to ear. But I think Liverpool got some big defensive injuries. I'm not quite sure which direction they take here, lads. I mean, Nick Mendola, how do Liverpool move forward after this crushing blow of losing Van Dijk for many, many months?
Yeah, the solution is extremely weird. And I think, as I wrote about at ProSoccerTalk, we're going to need to see how they react the first time that a player looks to his left or right or behind him and Virgil van Dijk isn't there, because he has been a mainstay. I think the answer is going to have to be both January and formation, because even if Fabinho was always the plan as the next center back, because maybe we're looking at something tactically. Maybe it's we look at what happened with Fernandinho last year. There's just so many comparisons to be made there. But is it something where I don't know that Trent Alexander-Arnold especially, but also Andy Robertson can be at their very, very best if they have to worry more about who's in the middle. So is this something where when they have the ball, Fabinho drops back, there's three at the back, and now our fullbacks can go forward? Maybe. But tactics, I think this is all about Jurgen Klopp. This is his point, not his chance. He's proven so much, but just the latest chance for him to show us just how special he is.
It's dominoes, right? Every little thing, every change affects the change next to it, the person next to it. One player has to play a little bit more defensive. Well, then who's going to provide that width in attack if the fullbacks can't get forward as well? So it's going to affect the attack as well. It's not just going to be defensively that Liverpool are going to have to adjust without Virgil van Dijk. So yeah, it is really interesting. And I can't be the only one that kind of, appreciates or I guess notices the parallels between Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola now, with the injuries to a center back, the center back, the star center back, and then your defensive midfielder, Fernandinho, now Fabinho having to slide in there and kind of deputize. It's very, very interesting to kind of compare what Man City went through last season as the titled defenders and now Liverpool this season as titled defenders. We know how it went for City. The only difference I think this season is going to be that there's no one ready to step up and blow the league away in the way that Liverpool did last season. And so they might be able to kind of piece together, I think it's 16 games they'll play before the January window opens, a little less than half the season, a little bit less than normal, given the kind of the compact start to the season. So they might just be able to get themselves in a position where if they can identify someone for January and get them in and have them settle quickly, that'll obviously be important. Then, they could be, I think they will be there regardless, but I think they could still be looked at as maybe even title favorites at that point.
I think this underlines probably what we've been thinking would happen for a while, right? They've upgraded, obviously. Diogo Jota's come in for the next stage of their attacking and give them an extra option. Thiago's come in the central midfield. And I think centre-back was really another area where if you could possibly improve Liverpool, that person who plays alongside Van Dijk was what they needed next to go out and spend a lot of money on, because they're not just buying players for the sake of it, are they? They're, Alisson coming in, Van Dijk coming in, Thiago, Jota. These are quality players that will start right away. And I think now what this does is accelerate that by 6 months. Instead of going out and looking at some of the names that have been linked to it, Ben White from Brighton, obviously Dayot Upamecano from RB Leipzig. Instead of going and getting them next summer, they make the move in January. They may have to pay more, but that can actually help their hopes in the Premier League and Champions League for the rest of the season. And then those players are up and running in the system when Van Dijk comes back, which looks like being next summer and ready for the next season, which all signs point to that. But I think I just want to underline his importance, because that needs to happen. Liverpool's win rate with Van Dijk, he's played 130 games so far, it stands at 70%. Without him, in the 13 games without him, so he hasn't missed an awful lot of games. He rarely misses games for injury. The win rate without him is 46%. That just shows you how important it is, even for a team like Liverpool who win a lot of games. So I'm really worried if they don't bring the right player in January, then, it's going to have an even bigger impact. And let's not forget, Liverpool haven't been great defensively, even with Van Dijk early in the season. So the fact that they're now losing him, Alisson's out injured, and Adrian's not been playing well in goal, there's a lot of problems there for Jurgen Klopp to sort out early in the season. So the big news is he's out, a massive injury, and now we're going to see what kind of plan they have going forward. So, Nick, any more final thoughts? 30 seconds to wrap it up on Van Dijk.
Yeah, Joe, I just wonder if maybe this is an opportunity to see Trent Alexander-Arnold in the midfield, maybe in a, not to be crazy, but a Pirlo role. It's just my wild card thing to think about is a more steady right back and get your distributor a little bit more advanced and in the mix. So they talk about it with England all the time, right? So maybe with Liverpool.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Liverpool shakes things up. They certainly need to. And obviously not ideal to lose games like they have been and dropping points early in the season, but far from ideal to lose Virgil van Dijk, especially in the way that they have done, so unnecessary early in the season.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe. Make sure you subscribe to watch highlights all season long and always join us every weekend at 7 a.m. on NBCSN for Premier League mornings. Plus, make sure you subscribe to Peacock Premium as well, where you can watch exclusively live 175 games and same-day on-demand replays of all 380 Premier League matches as well.